this meeting to order at 2 minutes after 5 p.m. on this 13th of January, 2025. Wow. Introductions, do we need them?
No.
We all know each other. Hi, Mike.
Mike, in the room, we have Laura, Larry, Leona, MK, myself, and Erica.
Great, I can see you all.
Okay.
And we have one addition to the agenda.
Okay, I have one addition to the agenda, which is we need to go into executive session.
Do
So,
that at the end.
yeah, we'll do that at the end. So with the addition, may I have, unless there are others, may I have an approval for the proposed agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda with the addition of executive session.
May I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Mike, aye. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the December 19th minutes. We all had a chance to read them. They were nice and short. It's amazing
Motion
what
to
a party will do.
Well, that was a
And we have a motion to approve. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Open to the public. We don't even have the dogs in here tonight.
Nope.
Okay, then we're closed to the public. So November 2024 financials.
I can provide that report.
And it is also on the screen. Would you like it bigger?
Yes, please.
Yes. Hey, November financials, looking at the P&L, reflects a net income of almost 35,000. November and December do tend to be lighter billing months, due to the holidays and vacations. So not as many billable hours. So those 2 months are a little bit lighter than the average. On the revenue side, I'll just point out the highlights. Line 402, local income is high. All the towns have been invoiced their dues, and we've received all but 2 of the towns, and they just were mailed out not too long ago. So
Nice.
thanks to all the towns for that. Line 403.5, Vermont Department of Environmental Conservation is low. This is due to Quist. There's a lot of projects in the development phase versus the construction phase. And I was talking to Devin a little bit about this earlier. Devin, do you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, one of the issues we have found with developing projects is the lack of guidance and rulemaking on DEC's part is prohibiting us from pursuing high value projects that'll meet our phosphorus reduction. So one of the ways we pursued action in that category is VAPTA and all the RPCs sent a memo to the DEC commissioner and A&R secretary formally requesting guidance on gully erosion, which will allow us to address gully erosion. They have only 60 days to develop guidance after a formal request, so that's a statutory requirement. The other thing is we are the only region in Vermont with a large forestry sector in our clean water service provider area. It's completely arbitrary why they had to meet certain benchmarks and they just decided to stuff forestry into the Rutland region. Not that we have a ton of forestry projects. So our partner at Pulteney Meadowy Natural Resources Conservation District is applying for a grant to develop capacity in forestry water quality project development. We're hoping that that will actually produce a lot of projects because right now, no one really does it. So those two aspects we may see will bear fruit in the coming months to next year. But really right now, it's still so early. Most of the effort's gone into identifying whether a project or not should even advance to a design phase, let alone construction. So we're hopeful that at some point you will really see us starting to spend a lot of that money down. But until then, there's some barriers.
Continuing line 407, U.S. Department of Energy. There's no activity. We're still waiting on the EECBG grant. We're hopeful that it will come in soon. line 420 special projects is low, and that's just, that's due to timing. We're waiting on executed agreements for some funding such as flood bylaws, and we might get another round of Vermont State Brownfields funding, the 2024 funding. Other grants, we're just beginning to start the work like CPRG and health equity. And then special projects also includes our MTAP work with Benson and
Paula,
Benson and Pollitt. Yes, and then this line also includes the Vermont State Brownfields 2023 grant, and these have larger budgets. On the expense side, just one highlight, line 545, marketing and sponsorships is high, and again, that's due to timing. Front Porch Forum, which is a large expense, was paid-
535, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's
Was
okay.
paid in October. Accounts receivable, as of November 30th, AR totaled roughly 290,000. That does include just a due to and due from, reimbursing the RRPC operating account from the QUISP account. And as of January 13th, accounts receivable totaled roughly $217,000. And the ANR aging summary will be up on the screen momentarily. So looking at our aging summary, just a few highlights here. The Brandon BMG, it's 91 and over days is what we're looking at. We're unable to invoice the town until the work has been completed, and this is just part of the agreement timeline for billing. The QUISP F admin, the $21,806 is for the QUISP account to reimburse the RRPC operating account, and that's just what I was speaking of. And Devin signed the check today. Larry will sign the check after this meeting.
Really?
Yeah, if he
You don't want me
agrees.
to come in tomorrow especially to do it?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see, the HMGP. So July through November billing was submitted, but the state has some updated templates that they wanted us to use. So I'm working on completing all of the materials that they've requested and submitting those again. And then Rutland City LHMP, the city will be invoiced this month for expenses from June through December. And again, that's per the agreement, just the payment timeline in the agreement. And that is my November report.
Directors?
Oh.
report.
Indeed. All right. So this says held because if you notice, I made this report for next week's full board meeting. So it's assuming some things have already happened. One is this VLCT RPC select board meetup we're doing. We are the first region in the state to hold this select board meetup. It's a new program that VLCT created in partnership with RPCs that they're going to be moving to a new region each month throughout the entire year, and hopefully we'll continue to do this year over year. So far, we have about 10 select board members signed up, hoping we're going to get that up closer to 20, 25. Really excited about this one. It will be at the West Rutland Town Hall. And it's this Thursday at 5:30. So we'll see how that goes. It's really an informal option or an informal opportunity for folks to meet each other, because we're finding more and more that select boards are so busy and they're wearing so many hats, they don't know the members of the town even next to them. So we're hopeful this will be a good pilot.
Is this in person only?
In person only. Yep. I've been talking about this for a while. The town plan toolkit is live, and I'll just give you a quick peek to show you this. It lives right here on our website under the town planning program. It is awesome. It is everything you could possibly need to know to prepare, engage, and adopt a town plan. This was put together by Logan Solomon, our town planner. And you can see it's got preparing, adopting, and using the town plan. It's got all this great information on where to start when doing an update, whether you're doing a light update or a heavier update, all the required statutes, ways to do public engagement and surveying. It's going to be a game changer, I think, when towns go to update their town plans. So we're doing a hard launch this month. We sort of did a soft launch in December. Please share it with your planning commissions, especially if you're looking at doing a town plan update. Hopefully you'll find it really useful. I'd love feedback from folks too, if they use it on a town plan update over the next coming months. Cool.
As you were scrolling, I might have missed it, was there any kind of a form that the community uses for scoring? So they know what we're looking at?
All the way down in the adoption section. Excuse my scroll. Here it is. Plan adoption and process. So here's
There it is.
submitted. And you actually have the page number
Yep.
of all the planning elements to show that it's been completed. So it should be a
Yeah, that's
really,
a big help, because they go through it
right.
and before it gets to us, and,
It'd be nice to eliminate any question as to whether it would be approved or not.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will be helpful that way. And it, not only that, but this implementation table is quite neat. Allows you to track your goals of the town plan and actions and see if you've completed those over the 8-year cycle.
that's a big one.
That's a
It
big
never
one.
happens, but
Yeah.
it should.
So that one, the next is the RPC Commissioner Handbook. Thank you all for reviewing that Word version draft. It is so close to being done. I'm excited it will be out this month, along with a new boards and committees webpage. We've never had this on our website. It will be a list of all the commissioners, where they're from, all the officers, a blurb and the chair for all of our committees, all of our subcommittees, and all the other sort of committees that don't fall under the RPC umbrella. So it's very exciting. Those both will be live before the end of the month. Just a reminder, municipal planning grants are now available. I heard in a government relations committee meeting today through VAPTA that they're seeking an additional $600,000 to fund this program in the Budget Adjustment Act. And they're combining it with the bylaw modernization grant program, so it'll all be under one roof, much more streamlined. Little fun note, myself, Karen, Karima, Logan, and Maggie are gonna be in the Real Rutland Feud this year, competing against Cape Air. So if you guys wanna come heckle us, that'll be on Saturday, February 15th at the Paramount Theater. We just had our photo shoot for our team photo, and it's pretty goofy. We had a lot of props. And I think we're gonna have a really good time with that. And it's a great way to give back, and also help to continue to market and get the word out on the RPC.
What time is that?
Probably like 7-ish.
Yeah, we can send information around on that. And we also have a code for like priority seating. If you guys want, we can share that with you. Next is future land use map. So our draft of the future land use map is done. And we are starting to map out all of our town meetings from now until April, May, June, to try to meet with every single town and to review the draft future land use map. Ideally, these meetings would happen in collaboration with the select board and the planning commission in each community. It will be tough because about 12 or 27 towns all meet on Mondays. So we're going to try to stack those. Likely it'll be multiple staffers doing this, Logan, Stephanie, myself. but it will be a big push in parallel with the regional plan update. So more to come on this. I'll be happy to share that draft with you all when we do our regional plan committee meetings upcoming very soon. And I'll get into that in a minute. This is an FYI where there's a new partnership with the Vermont Bond Bank and the Regional Planning Commissions on municipal water system analysis and technical assistance. So the bond bank has noticed that a lot of our smaller water systems aren't getting the sort of technical assistance that they need, and they need better analysis over the condition, financing. So there will be a 3-year grant that we're going to be implementing, probably starting in March or April. That will be working on all, I believe there's 12 public water systems in our region. So more to come there, but it's a great opportunity to get right in and help towns where they need it most. And as you all know, water is one of the critical things needed now in Act 250 reform and housing development. So any way that we can help spur that would be great. Lastly, we're back in session, the legislature. So I will actually be going up there on Wednesday to meet with our delegation in the morning, especially meeting, we have several new reps from Rutland County. So it's important that we engage with them as soon as possible. And now that I've got one session under my belt, I'll be doing a little bit more testifying on various issues. The committee postings are really promising. We have a lot more representation from Rutland now. Brian Calmore is Senate Gov Ops Chair. Terry Williams is Senate Natural Resources and Environment Vice Chair. These are really, really important postings, especially for town governance. So more to come there. Any questions on that stuff?
Devin, that January 15th meeting, is that that half-hour meeting?
Yep, in the morning. So I'll be going up there for 8 a.m. Yeah. Yeah. But hey,
So
it's they're one of the only delegations that do this every single week in the state. So what other opportunity do you have to meet all of them in one room? Even if it's half an hour, even if you've got to get up at 6 a.m. to get up there. Yeah.
I have to do that on the 29th, trying to get out of it.
Very fair, very fair.
So that half-hour meeting, you said it's a half hour, they're up and out, gone to the cafeteria.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I try to do is get right to the point in that meeting, and I
Yeah,
grab the
yeah.
rest of them throughout the day in the cafeteria. So I'll be doing that again.
And they do that every week, weekly.
We do
yeah.
that every week.
Okay.
Yep. All right, regional plan update. So we will be done drafting task 3 Rev 1 on the 17th, this Friday. That means the review will run from next Tuesday until February 21st. So a full month of review. As you can tell, it's a lot less than in the past. We had 8 weeks in the past. We're condensing our timeline more and more. As I presented to all of you in November, the new requirements on adoption are really pressing us hard to get this done faster. So you all, the Regional Plan Committee, have got more work for you.
Oh, gee, thank you.
There's an email that we're going to go over just next on the schedule for review, but that'll start on January 28th. And we'll be doing the same thing as last time, 2 chapters per session, 5 sessions. So by popular demand, the full Board of Commissioners really wanted to see a working draft, right? So what we're planning to do is on Tuesday, go over the new review form, and remember the review form from last time? This one's totally revamped and it matches the layout of the chapter. Introduction, current conditions, future trends, policies, and sort of statutory requirements. It's way easier and will provide much more succinct feedback to the drafters and the staff. So our plan is to update the board as to where we are, to remind them, refresh their memory. This is where we are in the process. here's the criteria for your review. And then on January 22nd, send them all the drafts and the criteria form and give them until February 18th when we meet again to hold a meeting with all the staff at the board meeting to go over comments, answer questions, and get some feedback from that board. So I'm hoping it will look and feel different than the policy review. I think that went a little sideways at times with the board. But I feel like after our meeting in November, when we sort of put up some much more clear guidance on this is what's required in statute, maybe we'll be able to really focus that feedback. Engagement is just a thank you to the full board. Our staff combed through over 1,000 individual responses to the survey on each of their chapters. Right now, we're working on a phase 3 engagement, which will happen in June. But as part of the new statute, we're required to do engagement, widespread citizen involvement, and meaningful participation through informal working groups under 3 VSA section 6002. We feel as though we have been doing this in this really intense engagement, but now that we have Karima on board, who's got a lot of experience in this realm and equity, she's taking it to a whole nother level and is working on even developing more framework, and is doing an equity analysis as well. So we're feeling pretty good about where we're at, but there's still a lot more work to go. Just curious, thoughts and feedback on this sort of this strategy with the full board. They really wanted to see a draft. Is this process of, hey, here is a draft, take the month to review it, use the form, and then hold another meeting, sort of listening to that feedback, answering questions. Does that sound like a good strategy to you all?
Do you want to give them a month?
I think we have to, because there's so much material to go over. 10 chapters. It's probably 200 pages of reading. You know, what we get is, I think, less important than giving everyone the opportunity to see it. So and it won't be the only opportunity. Remember, we're going to give them 3 opportunities now instead of waiting until the last meeting. So I'm hoping that this means by the time we get to the adoption phase, everyone will be very well versed with the plan, and there won't be any questions as to whether we actually adopt it or not. So I think we'll be looking again to you all to help curtail the board and make sure that it's productive feedback and not a philosophical debate like it kind of turned in the policy review.
Yeah, I think I was raising my hand. Sorry to interrupt. I didn't know if you'd see me or not. And I think
I'm
that
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's quite all right. I do think that it coming after our review is good, but do you have, if they review it, do you have a place for us to come back and consume their content and bring it back into the fold?
Yeah, we don't yet, because we don't really know what we're gonna get. But
Okay.
our thoughts were, continue on the same process with you all, in that, like, we have a good system going, and that we gave ourselves a full week after the board meeting to sort of digest the material. We can always talk to you guys in early February or after that meeting in early March about, hey, there's some outliers here. How do we deal with this? But generally, I have a feeling, Mike, that like most cases, we won't get as much feedback as we want. Most people won't really provide, they may read it, they may not. And I think most of the feedback will be binned into 2 general categories. And I think you can guess what those are.
Yep. Okay.
Maybe the select
Perfect.
boards get to see this. What's the date on that?
Yep, that would be in June.
All right. I have to drop sadly because I do have thank you for telling me about my DTBW meeting, but I'll see you guys later.
Okay,
Now
Thanks,
you got it. Good luck.
we're sad to
Thanks.
see you go.
luck.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
So I'll just go over this quickly. This is the email you all are gonna receive tomorrow. And it's very similar to the kickoff emails you've received in the past. This will be coming from Stephanie. Same chapters as before, except for Laura, we want you and Bob to team up on working lands and natural resources. Just feel like that will be a better fit and get a little bit more in-depth feedback that way on those two chapters, especially natural resources is so important. So here's the deal. We understand this is a tremendous amount to be asking of you all. And so one, thank you for even being willing to do it. I found that last time when we did this, it was a really good strategy, but one thing that was missing was that if the chapter wasn't assigned to one of you and you guys hadn't read it, it was really sort of more of this one-on-one with just that individual and myself. And I would love to see, if possible,
Right.
everyone read every chapter,
Yeah.
but really go in depth on these chapters listed. Just coming in with a broad awareness of like, okay, I read Leona's chapter housing, like I have some thoughts and some feedback, but not to the level of like natural resources or like land use for you. I think that would be a huge benefit so we're all on the same page and it can be more of a group discussion.
Mhm.
The other thing we want to do is bring the staff in for like the last 15 minutes of every chapter review for you to be able to ask them questions directly, especially if you're like, hey, why did you put this in there? Or for the staff to be able to ask you, this is what I was trying to convey. Did this come across? Do you think that would be useful time? I think so too. And it it's often a degree removed, right? It's passing through me to get to them, even though we did share the recordings, which were really helpful, except for one was botched, poor Maggie, but it was all black, no sound. So I think that would be a nice addition. In terms of everything mechanically is the exact same. You can pull the files down off the network. If you would rather have them printed, we'll print them for you. And what would be easiest is if you guys do come to next week's meeting in person, we can just give it to you then. Otherwise, we can set up a time you can come get them if you'd rather have printed copies. Here is the schedule. It's intense because we only have 4 weeks. So we're proposing Tuesday, Thursday, with 3-hour sessions. So take a look at that. Again, this email is going to be sent to you tomorrow. If there's a glaring issue, we will probably be able to swap folks around on dates. But this is what we're proposing. So if you could take a look after tomorrow and let me know, that would be really wonderful.
And if we can't attend in person, we will have teams, right?
We will have teams.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Because my Thursday.
We will have lunch for you
Yeah.
too. So if that's enticing. But I know your Thursdays are
Totally
well,
booked.
totally booked.
Yeah, our pay and compensation is the same as last round or.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely.
Smiles and hugs. Yeah.
And lunch.
And lunch. Yeah. Cookies and subs. Yeah. Cookies, subs, smiles, and hugs. That's a song.
Yeah,
That's a song.
can't resist.
All right. Well, thank you all again. Like this couldn't possibly happen without you, and your commitment is just really commendable. So thank you.
One thing, if we're gonna do this, we're going to, oh no, it's a Tuesday, never mind. I was gonna say, if we're meeting on the 11th. Never mind. It was just a thought that instead of, since we're all gonna be here to hold an executive session, to hold an executive meeting as we normally do it on Monday. And somehow my brain slipped into it being on Tuesday, so I apologize.
Yeah, on January 28th,
Yes.
I have a 3 o'clock dentist appointment right here in town.
Okay.
So if I could run out at 10 minutes of 3.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. That's perfect. And
We'll write an excuse for you to give to the doctor.
I'm hoping we won't need necessarily to go to 3 every time either.
Okay.
Laura, what you're proposing, we did do last time, which was double up with our executive committee meeting, which would be on the 10th. We could do that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Let me
Yeah.
make a note
If the executive committee is here
and then
anyway on Tuesday,
meet at 3 again,
Yeah.
early.
as we did last time. Sorry, my brain is not engaged.
Yeah, we can do that.
That would save a Monday night. We're here anyway.
So we'll meet on the 10th, not the 11th. Is that what you're saying?
No, we'll meet on the 11th.
Oh,
No, we'll
and
meet
then
on
we'll
the-
meet the.
Or whatever.
Oh, you're saying
executive
move the
11th.
executive committee? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
To the
yeah.
11th.
So we'll meet from 12 to 3, give or take. And then go right on into executive session when we're finished.
Perfect.
That way we don't have to come in on Monday, turn around and come back on Tuesday.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what's next? Oh, January Board of Commissioners agenda. So the big thing will be the budget update, which we're about to get into. The regional draft review form, what I just described, that'll be the main course for the evening, other than the budget. We will have a community committee meeting. Clarendon Town Plan is up for approval, and we will have a regional committee meeting. Okay, I don't know, regional committee, I haven't even looked at the Act 250 list yet, that'll be tomorrow. We do have some section 248s as well that have come in, so, yeah, we'll have a fairly full agenda. I do want to keep to Leanna. I think you might have come in late for this one when I think Sarah was running the meeting, but I had put on the agenda regional committee starting to look at the determination of significant, determination of regional significance for the regional plan. And right now, we have to define it in the regional plan update. Right now, it only speaks to like if it impacts 2 or more towns, it's very narrow. We want to expand that, so I'd like the regional committee to continue to sort of help form that language. We had a pretty productive session on it in November, so we can talk more about that then. Okay,
All right.
awesome.
Do the RPCs have anyone in Montpelier lobbying for them, or you do it yourself, or lobbyist?
Yeah, we mostly do it ourselves. We do have a government relations consultant, the Necrason Group, and they do a lot of sort of strategy planning for us. They speak to legislators for us, so they do very light lobbying, but it's really more consulting.
All right, our RRPC budget update.
Okay, so we can run through this. So there's obviously 3 columns, in front of you, the approved budget, the proposed updated budget, and then the variance, of those line items. So I'll just, I just want to run down and kind of like talk about the variances and, the proposed changes, that we made. So the first one is ACCD property transfer tax. So this is our main state grant. And we actually received more than $85,000, more than $85,000 more on that grant agreement due to Act 181 funds for the flu map. So that was nice, and we didn't realize we were getting those funds until the agreement came in, right,
Mhm.
Devin? And looking at the agreement, I'm like, wait, that's a nice surprise. So, of course, our budget was already approved by then, and so that's one of the reasons that we're here today. put those funds into the budget. So secondly, another ACCD grant, these are non-permanent state funds, so you'll remember like the ARPA grant, grants that we don't get year after year kind of fall under this line for ACCD. We are increasing this line by 10,000. We received a neighborhood development area planning grant from ACCD, so that's the variance there. The Vermont Department of Public Safety, we're decreasing it by 10,800. The EMPG 24 grant was less than we had budgeted. When it came in, they had reduced the funds.
The feds cut the program.
Yeah.
Right before the disaster in down south. Great timing.
V-Trans, we're increasing it by 8,982. We had a larger balance to draw down from July through September. In the TPI grant than originally budgeted. Sometimes we project as good as we can, but sometimes we use more staff time if we don't expend all the direct expenses. So we sometimes don't know until the very end of that grant, which crosses over into our FY25. So Vermont DEC, we reduced this line by $4,200. We reduced some QISP revenue based on preliminary budget discussions with Polteny Meadowy Natural Resources Conservation District regarding the Formula 2 grant. So our Formula 1 grant, we have expended all the admin funds. There are still lots of project funds that we're using out of that grant. Now we are moved over into the Formula 2 grant for the admin funds. And so when we do that, we create a budget between the RRPC and Polteny Meadowy Natural Resources Conservation District to, talk about the budget breakout. So based on that, we're decreasing the line by 4,202. This line also increased, we increased the 604B revenue based on the grant that we received. And the grant is a larger grant this year because it's multiple years, where it used to be just 1 year. No change for EPA. The U.S. Department of Energy, we're decreasing that by $2,117. We've decreased staff hours for the energy grant because we haven't received it yet. We're expecting that it's going to come in soon. If it comes in and we need to actually spend that down a little more, then we can just reduce the staff hours we're billing to MERP, and then we can pick up more hours over here. So there's some flexibility with that revenue. The U.S. Department of Labor, this is our big Work 6 grant. So with Karima now on board, we'll be bringing in an additional $65,000. This is another one of those big revenue streams that we wanted to definitely include into the budget update. Vermont Department of Buildings and General Services, we have increased it by $7,117. Again, I just talked about we haven't received the EECBG grant yet, so we shifted some hours. We reduced it in the Department of Energy, and we've increased it in MERP. Local planning assistance, we're reducing that by $1,829. Updated LHMP and MPM projects based on the current status of projects. So we have a lot of these projects, lots of LHMP, lots of MPM projects that Steph's working on, as well as other staff members. So we just got a pulse on where all the projects are and made an update based on project status. The next line is special projects. We are increasing this line by 47,896. We decreased TOD hours, WIB hours, and FEMA flood bylaw hours. We added 10,000 for the new health equity grant that we received. Added contracted services expenses for MTAP agreements, and then added $10,985 for the new Fairhaven LHMP agreement that wasn't in the original budget. Looking at the total revenues, the original budget was 2,035,000. And with the increases of a little more than 205,000 brings us up to 2.2 million. Looking at the expense side,
Which makes us still the second lowest in the state, including two RPCs that only have 10 towns. So we are gonna be continuing to look for additional grants and revenue streams that bring more money directly and services directly to the towns. So work six is a big start in that way.
so on the expense side, I'll run through the variances like I did on the revenue side. Salaries will be increasing $76,608. In this line, we added, and if anybody has any questions as we go through, just interject, let me know if you have any questions. But some of the increase was adding holiday bonuses, increased salaries, included 6 months of actual and projected comp time, updated budget to reflect current staff, which includes a new senior planner. So with Greg leaving, Karima came on. She is a senior planner. And we've also added, which I'm very excited for, added a part-time financial support person for me.
You did.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. So
We're gonna
If-
hopefully
if this,
advertise once you
this
guys
one.
approve this
yeah, if
budget.
the board, if you approve it and the board approves it, you'll make me a very happy person.
And that's what we're here for.
That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So-
don't keep you happy. We keep Mary Kay.
That's the life, that's the blood of the office right there.
Looking at Fringe, Fringe increased $20,445. And just a few notes on here, while Fringe has increased, RRPC's health insurance items are $8,500 lower due to switching from Blue Cross Blue Shield to MVP effective January 1st. So really happy that we made that change. And honestly, we've had great, just great experiences with MVP. Their reps have been very helpful. We had one employee who had special circumstance, has had good experiences as well. So
Blue
Knock
Cross
on
Blue
wood.
Shield was gonna be 22% increase.
22% increase, yeah. Yeah, so the savings here would have actually been higher, but some of the plan types, like a single or a family, actually increased too. So if we were looking at what we were doing before, it would have been more than $8,500, but had some increases in plan types, but still $8,500, that's huge. The increase also includes an increase in the VEMR's and FICA expense for the wage increases and bonuses, as well as the projected comp time over the next 6 months. And the cost, and it also captures the costs associated if comp hours are cashed in versus used. So just anticipating what potential expenses could be out there. We feel that we have captured them in this updated budget.
I have a question,
Sure.
just curious.
Yeah.
If comp time can be cashed in, personal time and vacation, can that also be?
Not
Cashed
personal
in.
time, vacation. So what our policy says, the sick time cannot be cashed in. Personal time, you get 3 days, use it or lose it, can't be carried over. Vacation time, you can cash in at up to 150 hours per year. And then what happens is for comp time, you can cash in on a quarterly basis. But you have to leave 37.5 hours on the table. You can't draw it all the way down until the end of the fiscal year. So at the end of the fiscal year, any unused comp time is paid out in the last check of the fiscal year.
Unless
Okay,
the one caveat is they can request that paid forward, right?
What do you mean?
The comp time, isn't there a provision or handbook saying that they can request from the executive director that it is paid forward? That they hold,
Carried it over?
carried forward, yeah,
Not comp time.
not comp time, so
No,
only vacation.
Only vacation time, and then Sick time is carried over year to year. The max is 450 hours. Carried over vacation, I think, is 150 hours, and that's where, unless you get executive
That's what
director
it is.
approval,
Yeah.
if Devin were to carry over beyond 150 hours, then the executive committee would have to approve that.
Okay, so are the cash outs? Those dollars are figured in fringe
Yes. Well, the payouts.
rather
so
than
the hours.
bumping up your,
Yeah, so the hours are paid out in the salary line because it's like part of the wages.
right,
But you know, whenever you're paid out wages, then there's FICA and then there's VEMR's, right? VEMR's
Mhm.
contributions. Those expenses will fall under the fringe line.
okay.
Yeah.
So do you have a buffer in your salaries?
I've included those potential payouts in
Payouts,
here.
you have,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that was
That's something
basically,
we never did before.
No, and actually, this was the first year that we budgeted comp, and because I reached out to the auditor, I'm like, should we be budgeting comp? And she said, well, if it's substantial, then you should. And so, just looking at, you know, the workload and accruals, and then I don't know if people are going to use the time or if they're going to get
Yeah.
paid out.
well,
some of the-
rather than to show that you're way over budget,
yeah, we've
it,
accounted
it
for
makes sense
Yeah.
to, yeah, okay,
If we know it's coming, then we should budget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Budget as much as we can.
that's where my question was
Yeah.
coming
No,
from.
great
Rather
question,
than
Leah.
Good
to,
question.
you know, have you, going over.
Yeah, no, this should take care of any payouts potential payouts that will occur. Contracted services increased by 87,378. We increased the consultant contractor expenses for TOD, WISP, and MTAP agreements. And we reduced the expense for the ramp agreement. Audit and accounting, we increased by 3,000, and you might be saying to yourself, oh, how come we didn't budget for it? How come, and we might have already reviewed this with you, but I'll just kind of reiterate. So yes, you know, we do put an RFP out every 3 years. And so when I got the engagement letter, of course, I refer back to the RFP. And I noticed that it was higher. And so I reached out to the auditor thinking maybe it was an oversight. And she said, just due to the new requirements and then our increased funding with QUISP and, you know, she did her best to keep the expenses, you know, as, you know, the increase as minimum as possible. But with so many new things that she has to do on her end, she had to increase that. And so I reviewed it with Devin, and it was definitely reasonable for what she has to do on her end. So the increase is here. Conferences and trainings increased by 7,000. We obviously want to allow the staff any opportunity to take more trainings when they're offered. You're gonna see, and I'll kind of skip over some of these, but you're gonna see these small amounts like $87, $1, $222, and you're gonna say to yourself, well, that's silly. And what happens is some of the grants that that we've expended and that are closed, I just put the actuals in here. So there was a small variance, and that's why you'll see those small variances. So the first small variance is mileage. Meeting expense, we've increased that $1,063. You know, we have several meetings that we offer food at, so we wanted to increase this line. Couple small, the next two lines, postage, printing, we'll skip over those. Just again, I was putting actuals into expended grants. Marketing and sponsorship, we increased this line by 1,500. We increased it for more regional plan advertising, so maybe those more Facebook ads or what have you. Town and organizational support, this is a little misleading, so I want to just kind of let you know. So you're gonna see the proposed amount is $300 and it was 2,000. And so what this line is they we have to send like a sympathy card or sympathy flowers or our holiday gifts, or a holiday luncheon or something of that nature, it falls under town and organizational support. And with our credit card, I have to give kudos to Karen. She did a really good job. So every staff member has a credit card and you have these points balances. Well, Karen got the credit card company to put all of our points on one account, and then they sent us a check for $2,200. Or they deposited it, I think, into our account for $2,200. So
We had
that's
never
what-
used them before, so we were just giving that money back.
yeah, so that offset that line, which
Good
is
for
really
Karen.
cool. Yeah. No change to supplies, service contracts, that's increased by $3,500. We will be entering into an annual contract with Silhouette Networks. We outsource IT with them. And what it's going to give us is more security features. Devin, do you want to chime in and add anything to that?
Yeah, they did a sort of audit of our account and found that we were way under protected. And that a lot of our subscriptions and services were falling way behind. So this upgrade would bring us up to Microsoft Business Premium, which allows like encrypted email and all these different things that they now sort of strongly encourage their clients to take on. So with that, there's a setup fee, there's a few things, but it's, we just had a town, Proctor was just, they had their town website or something hacked. We can't lose the time with a potential issue. So, we have them as a consultant for a reason. We feel good that they are providing the right guidance in this. So it's not cheap though. I mean, it's a lot of money, but
The alternative is more expensive.
yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
So no changes to legal fees, memberships, rent and office improvements, office cleaning, telephone. The next one is electricity. So we decreased electric by 900. And again, kudos to Jeremy. Jeremy reprogrammed all the thermostats in our office space, which the result is lower electric bills.
Just so you know, we thought this number was gonna go up to 12,000.
Yeah.
Our first month here, it was $1,000 for electricity.
Yeah.
After programming them, they've been right around 350.
350, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're talking a significant
Yeah.
amount of savings, which is great.
And then no change to insurance, and then equipment purchase, we bumped that up by 6,000 for additional computers, additional and replacement computers. So looking at the expenses were at $2,032,000 with our current approved budget. Expenses, if approved, will bump up to 2.2 million, and that's a difference of a little more than 204,000. And then looking down at the net income, the approved budget was $3,325, and the proposed budget is $4,430 for a difference of $1,100.
So we need a motion?
That'd be a recommendation of the full board.
Yes, may I have a motion to recommend the budget or to the full board? And if not, we'll open it for discussion.
Motion to recommend the budget to the full board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mary Kay.
Thank you.
Can I ask, I'm curious now that we're talking about an arrangement with Otter Creek Communication and exchange for services for funding you, how does that fit into?
Yeah,
How does
there's
this add
there's
back to the
always
budget? You
new
always
stuff
have
that
new
pops up, and
Yeah.
unless it's to a really significant degree, like work 6.
Like
We-
work 6 or that ACCD, that almost
Yeah.
$86,000. Those are really large amounts.
I wouldn't be surprised if our contract with you for the remainder of this fiscal year is like under $5,000. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna be fairly low, but who knows, you know? It could be more, you know, we'll do as much work as we can. But we don't feel like, and again, it's like, until it's secured, I'm really hesitant about,
Mhm.
even though we know this is happening.
Mhm.
There's other grants that we are expecting, but
Yeah.
until they're on there, you
Yeah.
know, we're cautious.
Would it show up like as a service contract or something?
I think it's
So
probably show up on special projects.
it would fall under special projects, like where the WIP falls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, commissioner updates?
If you so choose.
It's not. So, we have an added, the executive session.
Yes. So we do
So-
need,
You need to turn off the recorder.
after the motion and
Right.
we approve, so we will need a motion to enter executive session after making a specific finding, clear and substantial disadvantage based on labor relation agreements with employees.
All
Can
right,
we just say so moved?
Second.
yes, we need to vote, so it's been put forward, it's been seconded. May I have a motion to adjourn into executive session? I have 17:59.
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.